When we think about environmental damage, people often picture pollution, plastic waste, or deforestation. But behind many of those visible problems, there's a less visible force shaping them at scale: large corporations. Big companies don't just participate in the global economy, they define how it operates. And because of their size, even small decisions at the corporate level can create massive environmental consequences. Start with scale. A single individual has limited impact. A large company operates across countries, manages complex supply chains, and produces goods in enormous volumes. This means their environmental footprint isn't just about what they produce. It includes how materials are sourced, how products are made, how they're transported, and what happens after they're used. Every step adds up. One of the biggest areas of impact is resource extraction. To produce goods at scale, companies require raw materials, minerals, metals, timber, water, and energy. These resources don't appear out of nowhere. Mining operations can reshape landscapes, destroy ecosystems, and contaminate water sources. Logging can lead to deforestation, reducing biodiversity and disrupting climate regulation. Even water, often overlooked, is heavily used in manufacturing, sometimes in regions where it's already scarce. So before a product even exists, environmental impact has already begun. Next is manufacturing. Factories require energy, often generated from fossil fuels. They also produce emissions, waste, and chemical byproducts. In some regions, environmental regulations are strict. In others, they're limited or weakly enforced. This creates a global imbalance. Companies may shift production to locations where costs are lower, but environmental protections are also reduced. As a result, pollution is not eliminated, it's relocated. Then comes transportation. Global supply chains depend on ships, trucks, and planes moving goods across long distances. Shipping alone contributes significantly to global emissions, especially because many cargo ships use heavy, high-pollution fuels. And as demand increases, so does the volume of transportation. Even digital products rely on physical systems, data centers, cables, and infrastructure, all of which consume energy and resources. Now consider product design. Many products are not built for long-term use. They're designed for convenience, low cost, and frequent replacement. This leads to a cycle of consumption: buy, use, discard, repeat. This model increases production volume and therefore environmental impact. It also generates waste at a faster rate than systems can handle. Waste management is another critical issue. Large companies generate waste not only from products but also from packaging. Plastic, cardboard, and mixed materials are used to protect and transport goods, but much of this waste is not recycled effectively. Some ends up in landfills, some is incinerated, some leaks into natural environments. And because waste systems vary by region, the final outcome is often unpredictable. Now, here's something less obvious. Big companies don't just respond to demand, they shape it. Through marketing, pricing, and availability, they influence what people buy and how often they buy it. This means environmental impact is not just a result of consumer behavior, it's also guided by corporate strategy. If products are designed to be disposable, consumers adapt to that system. There's also the issue of external costs. Many environmental impacts are not directly reflected in the price of a product. Pollution, ecosystem damage, and resource depletion are often treated as externalities, costs absorbed by society rather than the company. This creates a disconnect. Products appear cheap, but their true environmental cost is much higher. However, the picture is not entirely negative. Large companies also have the capacity to drive change. Because of their scale, improvements can have significant impact. Switching to renewable energy, redesigning supply chains, reducing waste, and investing in sustainable materials can reduce environmental pressure. Some companies are already moving in this direction, partly due to regulation, partly due to public pressure, and partly due to long-term economic considerations. But progress is uneven. Another key factor is transparency. Supply chains are complex and often difficult to track. Without clear information, it's hard to measure environmental impact accurately. This makes accountability challenging. Improving transparency allows for better decisions by companies, governments, and consumers. So, what does this mean in practical terms? It means environmental impact is not just about individual choices. It's built into systems, production, distribution, and consumption, and those systems are heavily influenced by large organizations. In the end, big companies are not separate from the environmental problem. They are central to it. But that also means they're central to the solution, because when systems change at scale, the impact is no longer small. It becomes global. Understanding that shift from individual impact to system-level influence is essential, because without it, efforts may focus on the visible surface, while the deeper drivers of environmental change remain largely untouched.